So we announced last week that FreeWheel was acquiring StickyADS based in Paris. For us, it was a really big step in terms of our next few year strategy, in the sense that for the last 9 years, FreeWheel had been focused on providing technology services for broadcasters, operators, and premium digital publishers around direct sold businesses. And as we looked at the lay of the land, the scope of the next few years, we realized that most of our clients need to address a different type of demand, and that a lot of that demand was not coming from different channels, one of which being programmatic, and StickyADS had a really prevalent presence in that field and established tech. We did a preferred partnership last year, so we got to know them pretty well. So from our perspective, it was a natural partner and natural evolution for our company. In terms of what's coming next, it's a little early to tell, but everyone sort of that has heard FreeWheel talk about how to manage different demand sources and programmatic versus direct sold, and how to manage that together, as knowing that we've put a lot of emphasis on keeping TV, and making sure that compliance and anything that makes TV a pretty difficult environment to manage and to monetize is remaining across all of the demand channels. So expect a lot of news from us in that perspective, but you should expect that we're going to put some products out there that are pretty strong from a TV standpoint.
Okay, and you have experience of M&A from the other side too, in respect of your acquisition by Comcast.
Yep. A
couple of years ago now, I think. How has that changed things for you?
So we've been lucky in Comcast acquiring FreeWheel, in that Comcast has managed to keep us relatively independent from their operations, and really saw the value in FreeWheel in the sense of, one, we're not, Comcast is not the only customer that FreeWheel has, and FreeWheel works for about 90% of the US TV ecosystem, be it programmers or MVPD. So it's pretty important for Comcast to let us build our own roadmap and continue to provide services on an independent basis from our customer standpoint. So we've been lucky in that sense, and obviously we want to make sure that StickyADS keep the same approach, and we let them to a certain extent continue to build their great products. So, but we've been very lucky.
And as you expand around the world, I guess you must take note of the differences in different markets as you do that, as regards the rollout of advanced or programmatic TV. Yeah. How do you see the different regions?
So I was recently in Asia, and it was a very enlightening trip in the sense of, you see kind of the US started 4 or 5 years ago with VOD, and that's been very successful for most of the programmers and operators there. A country like Japan, for example, programmers have only started sort of 6 months ago putting a number of programs on VOD platforms. So the volume isn't massive yet, but you can definitely tell that the customers are demanding more and more premium products across these platforms. Mm-hmm. And so for us, this is the beginning of opportunities to go into these markets. We haven't been present in APAC yet, and so because the model is very direct sold, and the sales house and the various broadcasters are relying very much on advertising technology that helps them monetize and optimize the best yield for sales, it's a natural progression, but we're not there yet, and we're still looking at these opportunities.
And here in the UK, I think FreeWheel is already helping programmers like Channel 4 and Sky on programmatic for catch-up VOD platforms. Mm-hmm. Are they also taking an interest now in digital live?
So live, and we see that in the US as well. I mean, when we look at our video monetization report, which we publish on a quarterly basis, one of the things that we notice the most sort of year on year is a progression of live streaming ad insertion, i.e. the replacement of a TV ad in a live program by a dynamic ad on IP platforms. We see that now represents about 30% of our volume, principally around sports and news. It's about 80% sports and news. And it provides significant opportunities for the programmers, even if it's only around monitoring. Because in the past, agencies and advertisers were kind of expecting to get the ads, on the IP or the live streaming platform. And now the broadcasters, the programmers, they have to be able to monitor these ads to be able to count the live views and to be able to monitor and or package that as part of sales. but we're definitely seeing a big interest. Here in the UK, Sky Go has obviously come out with big platform there, being able to monitor live, to watch live. Channel 4 recently started to broadcast Formula 1. So all these are opportunities for broadcasters, programmers to monetize additional inventory. And the trick there is it's TV, right? You're looking at it on a different screen, but it is live TV. So when we're looking at this from a monetization standpoint, it's very important that all the rules and restrictions that make TV are kept, even though you are in a digital environment. From a technical standpoint, it's still a TV screen and it's TV content. So all the rules and the restrictions and the compliance that TV has adopted for over 20 years have to remain.
So traditional TV ad spend tends to benefit cyclically from the cycles of Olympic Games and presidential election. With those two things happening this year, do you think that digital live is ready to start taking some of those dollars?
Well, I think the question isn't necessarily whether they're going to take those dollars. I think Channel 4 recently came out and saying that they are now seeing an equivalent level from a digital and a linear dollar, and that it's not analog pounds and digital pennies anymore, but it's really on a par level. So yes, people are now getting to a point where they're actively monetizing that because they're able to recognize the value. And you're right that events like the Olympics, the Euro in France, football, and the Olympics all in the same year make up for big opportunities for these additional platforms for broadcasters.
Okay, and you're going to be heading to Cannes. What do you think is the conversation that's going to play out there, and what kind of presence will you have? So
I can see a number of things happening in Cannes, and one of the things that we're going to focus a lot of our attention to is data. Data enablement, and that from a number of different angles. The first one is programmers using their own data to monetize their inventory better and provide more opportunities for advertisers and how to do that. Channel 4 again here in the UK has about 13 million registered users on all four. That's a big number, and that's a number that's very monetizable right now for them. The other thing around data is the interaction that we're starting to get to, which already happens in the US, between operator, i.e. distributors, and programmers, which we're just now starting to see emerge in Europe. We've seen companies in France and in Belgium, and obviously here with Sky, starting to find commercial models to make their data available to third parties, and how to negotiate the fact that they have access to the end user and they have access to those profiles, and that has a significant value when it comes to advertising and making sure that your advertising is addressable. We're starting to see that happen more and more in VOD, which is why it's extremely important to develop our set-top box VOD concept and to continue to see growth there, and slowly but surely it'll get to linear addressable at some point.
Okay, well thanks. Have a productive Cannes, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.